So in this class, we are going to discuss about the matplot library. So what is the matplot library? So this particular library, let me open the official website of matplot library. So this library is used to create the graphs. Now you can see here, if I go with the examples, now you can see there are different types of graphs are there. Okay. Now you can see these are the plot graph is there, scatter graph is there, bar type of graphs are there. Okay, different types of graphs, pie chart is there. Okay, so different types of graphs are there. So whenever I wanted to represent my particular data into the graphical representation, then I'll go with this particular library. Okay, how to use this particular library? So first of all, I need to install this particular library. I need to open the command prompt, run as administrator mode, and then click on S, and here I need to mention pip install matplot lib. Okay, so once I mention this particular command, this particular library is going to be installed. Okay, so simple command is there. So here, let me just write here matplot library. So this library is used to display the data in graph form. Okay, and to install this particular library, you have to open the command prompt in admin mode, and then simply here you have to type pip install matplot library. Okay, and then after installation, okay, you have to open the editor where you are editing the Python file, and then simply here you have to use the command from here. You have to mention import matplot library and which graph you are using. For example, here you can see if I'm using the this particular these are plots, bar, this comes into the pyplot particular library. So there are different types of graphs are coming from the one separate particular library. So here I need to import this particular library here. So what is PLT? PLT is just a reference dummy name. Okay. So apart from the pyplot, there are different types of graphs are there. So whatever the graphs you wanted to use, you have to mention that particular type. Okay. And then you can use this particular library here. Okay. So now I'm going to import this particular library. So here this is the command import matplot pyplot as a PLT. PLT will be the reference variable name. And here I'm going to okay create one particular data. Just assume I'm creating one data as something marks here. Okay, so this whenever you create any particular graph, your graph is going to be divided into x-axis and y-axis. For example, so this will be okay, lines. Okay, so this will be your x-axis and this will be your y-axis. Okay, this is y-axis. Okay, so here index will come and here values are. Okay, so on the basis of the value, this graph is going to be displayed. Okay, and each and every particular point of this particular value represents some particular index. Okay, like this. So there will be some particular index will be there, and here some particular values will be there. So this is going to be well, like how the graph are going to be represented. Example purpose, here I'm first of all I'm going to create some particular variable, something values as something marks, and I'm storing some particular marks, something 90 marks, 80 marks, 70 marks, some 60. Okay, again I'm writing something 95. Okay, now I wanted to display one particular graphical representation. So simply I'll use the plot. Then which graph I wanted to use? For example, I wanted to use the plot graph. And here what value I wanted to pass. So directly also I can pass the values. For example, directly I'm passing something 10, 20, 30, 40, something 80. Okay. And I'm storing again 25. Okay. 55. Okay. 75. Okay. Now you can see here some graph is going to be displayed. You can see here some graph is displaying. Similarly, instead of passing these particular values, so here if I pass only values here, you can see these values are displaying, and by default you can see here some index also displaying here. Okay. Now what I wanted to do, instead of giving the direct value, I'm going to pass the variable here. Okay. So here I'm going to pass plt dot plot function, and here I'm going to pass the variable name something like as a marks here. Okay. And once I run this, now you can see here same particular that graph is going to be displayed. Okay. So this is the way like how you're going to create this particular graphs here. So now just assume I don't want it to display the by default indexing. What I wanted to do, I want my own particular indexing. For example, here I wanted to add some students, and in this I wanted to add some student names, something like David, something Kane. Okay, and here I'm going to add some value as a something Joss. Okay, something John. Okay, let's add one more name, something about this. Okay, now these values are saved here. Now five names are there. I just need to add five values here. So let me add some particular marks also. And here I'm showing some marks as a something 90, something 40, 80, okay, some 60, some 95. Okay. And now what I wanted to do, this marks I want as a value, and this student I want to display as an index. So for that purpose, what I'll write plt dot the graph name, and then x-axis and y-axis. In the x-axis, I wanted to display as a students, and in the y-axis, I wanted to display as a marks. So now you can see here, this is the way like how the information is. You can see here, David, Kane, Josh, John, and Rohit. These are the representations. Similarly, you can change this particular graph type also. For example, I can mention here, let me copy this particular command, and here I'm going to change the graph name as a scatter. So now you can see here different representation is coming. Same thing, I wanted to change again the name here. Instead of plot, I'm going to use something bar graph. Now you can see here again some different representations are coming. So every graph will give you the different particular representation, and all the data is not going to belongs to the all the particular graphs. Maybe some data is going to be suitable, or maybe any particular data is not suitable. So depend upon the requirement, we have to choose that particular graph. Okay. Now this is the only, we are displaying only one particular data only. Now what if I wanted to display two different type of data? So two different type of data means, for example, here I wanted to display something. There is a two teams are there. Just assume there is a team called South Africa. Okay, and here I wanted to store some data, and there is a one more team England, and there is a one overs are there. Okay, and here I'm going to store some particular data. So here what I'll do here, I'm going to take comprehension concept to store the data for I in range of something 12 to 240, and similarly here I'm going to write for I in range of something 15 to 200, something 10, and here I'm going to write for I in a range of 1 to 21. Okay, now let me check it, how many values are saved. Length of the South Africa 19. I need to add one more particular value. um, Let me check how many values are there. So 12, 24. So here in the last, I wanted to update some value. So here I'm going to add append function, and here I'm going to mention 260, or else 244 something. Okay. Now, if I check length of the South Africa is 20. Now, length of the overs is 20, and now length of the England, it is 19. Let me check how many values are stored here. 195. So here I'm going to add England dot append. Okay, something 220. Okay, so now check length of the England. It's 20. Okay, and if I check it also, you can see here 20 values are stored here. Similarly, length of the South Africa is 20, and length of the England also 20. So okay, it should be England. Okay, so all the values perfectly, so all the 2020 values are there. Now what I wanted to do, now I wanted to create the comparison graph of the these particular two values. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to create one particular graph for the first value, so plt, and here I'm going to use the England. Okay, first I need to mention the x-axis, the overs, and the second as a second particular value. Okay, also I'll write South Africa first before. Okay, and here I need to mention the which graph I wanted to display. Similarly, I need to mention the second thing, overs and England. Okay, now once I run this, now you can see here we are getting one particular graph. Okay, and these are the representation. But you can see here this graph is displaying, but uh, you can see there is a no x-axis is there, no y-axis references are there. And what is the purpose of this graph? There is a no references passed. Even you can see here if two values are coming, this blue lines are indicating which particular, this orange line is indicating which particular class. Nothing we cannot able to see these things also, right? So what I need to do, I need to add those particular references. For those references, I need to use some built-in functions. Okay, so now different built-in functions are available. So if I copy this, let me just zoom this. There is a function called title function. So if I use this particular title function, and here I'll get I can add some particular title. So let me just use some multi-line string, and here I'm going to write something T20 something semi footer 2024. Okay, semi-final. South Africa versus India. Okay, and that's it. Okay, so here I wanted to display these things, and once I run this, now you can see here we're getting this T20 2024 semi-final South Africa versus England, and now you can see these are the some representations. Now what I want, what this x-axis representing, I wanted to add this particular value also. So for that purpose, you can add here. Let me just write here plt should be in the small as a x label, and in the x label what you wanted to pass. So here I wanted to pass the value as a overs. So here the range of the overs is 1 to 20. Similarly in the y label, and here I wanted to write runs by each team. Okay, and once I run this, now you can see here in the bottom side we are getting overs 1 to 20, and here you can see in the left side we are getting runs by each team. So these are the runs particular indicators are there, and these are the overs something. Now what I wanted to add the this particular lines color indications also, like whatever the this particular lines are representing. So here I'm going to add, okay, one more particular here. I need to mention label equals to South Africa, and here I'm going to mention color equals to, let's add green something, and here I'm going to mention label equals to England, and here I'm going to mention color equals to something. Okay, and here I need to mention one more legend function. Once I run this, so now you can see here you're getting this particular two lines, and now you can see here you're getting this particular indications or reference point also, like this color belongs to this particular team and this color belongs to this particular team. Is it clear? Any doubt, any questions?
No, sir.
You can change the graph names also. If I just change the name, for example, instead of plotter, I can use other names and something scatter. So this will give you the different representation. Now you can say here you are getting the different representation. Okay. Similarly, if you use the some bar graph, okay, and if I run this, again this will give you the different representation. So each and every graph will give you the different particular representation, and maybe that particular graph is suitable for your data or may not be suitable for your data. So we need to experiment on that particular graph, like which is going to be suitable, and then we can forward to our particular team. Okay, now what I wanted to do, I wanted to receive the data from the Excel file, and then I wanted to create one particular graph. So for that purpose I wanted to copy one particular file. So let me just copy one file from some other particular folder, and let's open this file. So now you can see here we have this Excel file t10, okay, t10.csv. If I open this particular file, you can see here there are three columns are there. In the first column 1 to 10 values are there. In the second column there are some values are there. In third column we have some particular values are there. Now what I wanted to do, I wanted to create three variables, and I wanted to iterate all these particular 1 to 10 values inside of the first variable, 12 to 174 values inside of the separate variable, and 15 to 105 as a separate particular variable. Okay. Now how to extract this particular data and how to store this particular data. So for that purpose we have a CSV library is there. Okay. So if you just type here CSV library for Python, so now you can see here this is the library, and you can see here what this library is used. This library is used to work with the CSV files, which is purpose for reading and writing the files. And now if you wanted to read the file, you can see there is a reader function is there. An example also given, like how to import this CSV file. You have to mention import keyword, then you need to mention the CSV command, then you have to mention with open, and then you have to give some file name, and then you have to give the reference variable name, and then some variable name, and then reader function to access the file. Let me follow the same particular process to access this particular CSV file. So first of all, I'm going to import this particular library using the import CSV command. Okay, and then I'm going to take three particular variables here. Let me take three variables as a overs equals to something, and ATB equals to something, and bteam equals to something. Okay, now what I wanted to do, I wanted to use this particular file here. So here I'm going to use with open function, and what is the file name? File name is t10.csv, and then I need to access this particular file. You can give any particular name here. Let's give this name as something my file, and after that you need to give some particular variable name to access the data. So I'm going to write my data equals to csv dot reader, and here I'm going to pass this particular my file. So this data is going to be saved inside of the my data. And if I wanted to check it, you can see here for I in my data, and if I print I, so now you can see here all the data I can able to access. So now what I wanted to do, all these particular zero index values I wanted to store in one particular command in first index, second index, like this. For example, if you wanted to check, you can check it here. I wanted to print the zero index values, then I wanted to check the first index and second index, you can see here. So if I run this, now you can see here these are the first index value, second. Okay, so I'll do one thing, uh, I'll print one by one so you'll get the idea. So now you can see these are the zero index value, and these are the first index value, and these are the second index value. So now you can see here in this particular way you can access all the particular values and you can store it. For storing purpose, we have already created three particular variables. You can see here these are the three variables we have created: overs, A team, and B team. I wanted to add this particular data. How to add this? So in the list, this because square bracket nothing but the list. In the list, we have already append function is there. So I'm going to use the append function to store this particular data one by one, one by one. So how I'm going to use this? So here I'm going to use this um, okay, overs dot append function, and I wanted to store the all the particular zero index value. But by default, when you store the data, this data is going to be stored as a string value. So what I need to do, I need to convert this as a number. So for that purpose, I'm going to mention here integer of this particular value. Okay. Similarly, what I need to do, I need to mention the other particular uh, data also. Okay. So here I need to mention 18, and this is the index of 1. Okay. Next, I need to mention B team and the index of 2 here. And once I run this, now you can see here I'm getting overs, I'm getting 18, I'm getting the B team here. Okay, so this is the way how you're going to access this particular data. And if you wanted to display some graph, you can display the graph same thing. Like for example, if I copy this and here I'm going to paste this. So here I'm going to write something 18, something 18. Let's give some different colors and write something T10. Okay, here also T10. So now you can see here, similarly, you can see here, you are getting some particular graph here. You can see here, okay, 1 to 10 data. Okay, here I have not changed the values, right? I need to change the values also. Here I need to mention 18, and here I need to mention over, and here I need to mention the B team. So now you can see here A team and B team, 1 to 10 overs. Okay, and these are the run cycle. Is it clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Similarly, you can use the any other particular graph. Let's go with the one more graph, something like the pie chart graph. Okay. So let's go with this pie chart. So here, what we need to mention, example, okay, colors are there. Function name is pie function, and whatever the data you wanted to pass, you have to store the data. Okay. So let's store some particular data here. Let's store some particular data as a, let's, so we have marks. Okay. And now we have marks is there. Okay, so here what I'll do, I will use the plt dot pie chart, and here I'm going to mention the marks, and Here I'm going to use the plt dot show function. Okay, so now you can see here, you can see some area is created here. Okay, and similarly, if I wanted to give some particular names also, you can give the names also. There are different attributes are there here. They have not mentioned the attributes. You can check any other particular website also to check the other particular. Okay, for example, you can see here there is a labels is there. Label is a one more particular attribute. In the label you have to pass the what labels you wanted to pass. So here I wanted to pass the students because we have stored the student also, right? So student I wanted to pass as a label here. So let me just copy this, and here I wanted to pass labels or label spelling labels. Okay, labels equals to students, and now you can see here we are getting this particular labels also. Okay, again there are different things are there. You can see here if you scroll down, how much you want to, how you wanted to display the data, and if you wanted to display some shadow you can display shadow. If you wanted to highlight, extract anything, you can extract that part also. So different things you can do. If you wanted to give your own colors, you can give the color equals to something and you can pass the colors also. So different things you can apply here. Okay, if you wanted to display which color is indicating what, that also you can display. Okay, so all these things you can display here. So for that purpose I'm going to assign you some particular task which is related to matplot library. Let me copy one file, paste it here, and now you can see this particular first particular task. You have to create one particular graph, and now you can see when you created the graph the lines are straight lines are coming. Now you have to change the style of the line. As you can see here there is some dots are there. Okay, so you have to display this particular dash, or you can see dash 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 lines are there, and then you can see here wherever the value is there, that point is highlighting here. So this is the task number one. Second thing, you can see here in this same thing straight line is there, some the points which is displaying, it is comparing to this particular first one. This, the size of this particular pointing is very high, and comparing to this it is very low. And you can see here some background color, some background is also there. So here in the first one there is a no background, plain background is there, but in the second you can see there is some. So how to apply this background also. Third one, you have to create one area where you have two rows are there. In the first row, just create only one column. In the second row, create the three column. Okay, and inside of that, you can display some particular graphs also. Means in one page, you can display the different graphs. Next question, you can see here you have to create the pie chart, and you have to display the values in the pie chart also. Okay, and the fourth one is you have to create the bar chart, and in the bar chart you have to compare the two particular data, two particular different data. You can store any particular data. It is not like you have to take this data only. You can go with any other particular data. Next and last task is you have to compare the five particular data set. Just assume there is a data set, B, C, D, E, and then compare these particular data set. Okay. So that's it for today, guys. Okay. Any doubt, any questions?